For more on what the class of 2018 will encounter in the job market, we'd like to bring in Brian Schaitkin. He is a senior economist for the Conference Board. Hi there, Brian. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, Susan.
Tell us, what kind of market will these young people be encountering as they venture out?
Well, in the U.S., the job market for new college grads is probably, from a pure employment perspective, the best it's been in around 15 or 20 years. But if you start looking at the overall, the key thing is that the unemployment rate is at 3.8%. That's the lowest it's been since the late 1960s. That doesn't exactly describe how tight the labor market is, simply because there are still some people left on the sidelines who are looking for work. But if you look at participation rates among college graduates, specifically those younger college graduates, they've recovered nicely back to the levels that we saw 2007, 2008. So among non-college grads where that's been less the case. But from a wage perspective, even though there has been good wage growth in recent years for college grads, wages have still not grown in the way that we might hope given the tight labor market conditions.
What is your reaction to the recent reports that says the jobs are there, but the skills are not? What does that mean?
Well, what it means is that if you look at some of the positions that will be threatened by automation, so let's take legal jobs, for example. It is very difficult to automate the task of making a legal argument. That is going to be far, far down the road. But entry-level positions in law, those are about reading through discovery documents, and that's a process that very much can be aided by existing automated artificial intelligence technologies. And so the result of that is that there are less job opportunities in some cases for entry-level workers. Firms are demanding much higher skills than they did in the past, partly because shortly after the recession, they had the pick of the litter in terms of candidates. And the result of that is that standards have not necessarily declined to the extent that one might expect as labor market conditions have improved over the last 6-7 years.
What about the influence of artificial intelligence?
So artificial intelligence, the way to think about it is that it helps in terms of solving big data problems, basically optimizing one's use of large data sets. And so the result of that is that a lot of entry-level type positions where firms used to need lots of newly minted college graduates to go through piles of data, those positions, there are fewer of them as a result. And so instead you have a situation where the prospects of artificial intelligence replacing highly skilled, highly experienced workers, those are distant right now. But it makes it much more difficult for new workers to find a place in firms and to connect and sort of find a place on the career ladder.
So Brian, as we end this segment, give us some sage advice from your heart. What would you tell those out there just graduated looking for a job?
I would say that you do have an opportunity to enter a labor market where firms are demanding talent. They are demanding entrepreneurial spirit. And even though it is frustrating right now that there aren't as many entry-level positions as there might have been for graduates entering the labor market in the late 90s, and student debt levels have tripled since 2005 in the US, and that's a major, major constraint on the types of jobs that individuals are able to take. Nonetheless, there are opportunities out there, and firms demand talent. They demand quantitative skills of a high order, and there's always going to be a place for students with those skills.
Well, Brian Schaitkin, we're going to have to leave it right there. Wonderful having you. Thank you so much.